Okay, City of Dubuque proclamation. Whereas one of the greatest responsibilities of any elected official is the protection of the electorate served and the protection of the greater public and safety. And whereas COVID-19 poses a serious and potentially deadly threat to the public and the public health, as the Federal Center for Disease Control, or CDC, has noted that serious illness occurs in 16% of cases with older people and people of all ages with severe chronic medical conditions, such as heart disease, lung disease, and diabetes, or those who are immunocompromised, seeming to be at a higher risk of developing serious COVID or COVID-19 illness. And noting that the World Health Organization has determined COVID-19 to be a pandemic. And whereas across the globe, the disease has been dramatically spread through contact by those with no known correlation to any affected areas or without contact with those known to be infected, called community spread. And the Iowa Department of Public Health, or IDPH, has now identified community spread in multiple areas in the state of Iowa and has issued new recommendations for individuals with underlying medical conditions, and all Iowans should be prepared for cancellations and disruptions in routine activities. And whereas a high rate of infection has been shown to overwhelm medical systems throughout the world, and the numerous governmental entities and epidemiologists have stated that community spread in the United States poses the same risk of overwhelming American medical systems. And whereas the IDPH has recommended the immediate implementation of several mitigation measures to have the most significant impact on slowing the spread of the virus, including avoiding large gatherings of more than 50 people and considering adjustments for smaller gatherings with high-risk groups. And whereas the governor of Iowa has recommended schools in the state of Iowa closed for 4 weeks. And whereas Iowa Code Section 372.142 and the City of Dubuque Code of Ordinances 7-3-1 grant the mayor powers in circumstances when public danger or emergency exists to take extraordinary steps to protect the public health and safety. Now therefore, in consideration of the foregoing and other valid emergent concerns, I, Roy D. Buell, Mayor of the City of Dubuque, proclaim the following. I hereby determine that a state of emergency or public danger exists and direct that all gatherings of 50 people or more on public property or public right-of-way are hereby prohibited, and any permits or permissions previously granted are hereby rescinded, and any amounts paid for such permits shall be refunded upon request. I further determine that direct the police chief to enforce such direction to avoid any such gatherings on public property and public right-of-way, whether formally or informally organized. I further strongly suggest, consistent with the recommendations of the Iowa Department of Public Health, that private gatherings of 50 or more people on private property should be avoided, and appropriate adjustments for smaller gatherings with high-risk groups should be made. For the protection of the residents, program participants, their families, city staff, and the contractors teaching or performing the programs through the City of Dubuque Leisure Services Department, I hereby cancel all City of Dubuque Leisure Services recreational programs and multicultural family center programs through at least April 12th, 2020. City staff will contact those registered and offer refunds and/or credits. Leisure Services staff is currently working on putting together summer activities and the summer brochure. Registration for summer programs will not begin until at least April 13th, 2020. I hereby close the Multicultural Family Center for public use beginning Tuesday, March 17th, 2020, and the Multicultural Family Center will remain closed through at least April 12th, 2020. The Multicultural Family Center has a food pantry scheduled on Friday, March 20th, 2020. The Multicultural Family staff is working on a method that would allow the event to continue while keeping both the pantry participants, volunteers, and staff protected by following the protocols of the CDC and Iowa Department of Public Health. City staff will be corresponding with food pantry participants to provide updates. It is of the utmost importance we continue to provide assistance to our most vulnerable populations in a safe manner during this crisis. I hereby close Bunker Hill Golf Course. The golf course will not open through at least April 12, 2020, even if course conditions improve. I hereby cancel meetings and other gatherings of the public scheduled for the Comiskey Park Building and the Allison Henderson Building through at least April 12, 2020. During the shutdown, city staff will be sanitizing all areas of each of these facilities. I hereby authorize city boards and commissions to make accommodations allowing for remote attendance and participation at regularly scheduled meetings by board and commission members and the public. I hereby issue a moratorium on the issuance of special event permits and solicitor's licenses through at least May 1st, 2020. I hereby close the following city buildings to public access beginning March 17th, 2020 through at least April 12th, 2020. City Hall, City Hall Annex, Leisure Services Department Office at Bunker Hill, Housing and Community Development Department at the Historic Federal Building, the Municipal Services Center on Kerper Court, and the Multicultural Family Center. City staff in these buildings shall work to provide services to the public electronically, by phone, by mail, and when possible, by appointment, as well as access to information and the ability to participate in meetings by alternative means. I hereby determine and direct the city manager to evaluate the ongoing operations of the city organization and adjust operations accordingly, including the authority to further restrict access to facilities. Per City of Dubuque Code of Ordinances, Section 7-3-1, the public is advised that the violation of a mayoral proclamation of emergency or of any subsidiary proclamation thereto, evidencing the exercise of emergency powers, or of any rule or order issued pursuant thereto by the mayor or city manager, of any order issued pursuant thereto by any peace officer, or of any directive issued by designated emergency management or emergency services personnel, pursuant thereto, shall constitute a violation of that section and shall be punishable as a misdemeanor as provided by Title I, Chapter 4 of the City Code. This proclamation of emergency and public danger is part of an ongoing response of the City of Dubuque to an ever-changing situation to protect public health and safety. This proclamation may be modified or suspended with more restrictive proclamations at any time as circumstances warrant. Please be aware these decisions have been made based upon the information available today. You can find the most recent information about the city's response to COVID-19 at www.cityofdubuque.org. Proclaimed this 16th day of March 2020 by the authority vested in me by the Code of Iowa and the City of Dubuque Code of Ordinances.